That's like the top of the list, is that you need to learn how to master your time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and the human being will have nothing more than that which they have aimed for, or that which they have traveled for. And for every journey that you've taken, you will find what you journeyed for. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that if you haven't made the intention, you're not making the niyyah for something, for ihsan, for excellence in your life, you're not going to arrive at excellence. This is what I tell people, that if you want an outstanding life, it will not happen by accident. It will not. If you've ever told someone that there's only one God, and they're like, prove it to me there's only one God, you will say, look at the perfection on earth. Look at perfection on earth. That shows that there's an intelligence behind this. Because perfection never comes from accident. That's what you tell someone in order to explain to them that there's only one God. Now I'm telling you that apply that to your life and say to yourself that your life cannot become excellent without intelligence. You can't expect to wake up and accidentally stumble upon an amazing, outstanding life. It doesn't happen like that. Now, sure, we go to university and we study chemistry and we study physics and we study engineering and we study accounting and we study all of that stuff, but where do we study how to manage our lives? And so many mothers will be asking, how do I manage my time with my kids? They've never studied how to manage their time. Someone else will say, I keep procrastinating things. How do I manage my time? They've never studied it. Nobody's taught it to them. Have you ever taken out the time to master this? And I'm not talking about just listening to a lecture, but actually sitting out and planning it out and detailing it out and having a system. And if the system works or it doesn't work, you keep adjusting until you get the system that works for you, inshaAllah ta'ala. I found some interesting statistics about how long people spend on different things in their life. And I'd like to share it with you because it, if this was like a day in our, if our life was like summed up into one day. Anyways, the average person in their life is going to spend 27 years sleeping. That's 30 years. Almost 30 years of your life, and the average life is spent sleeping. So the person is just dreaming for like half their life. Number two is that going to work, about 10 and a half years will be spent at work, going to work. And that's why one of the number one things, in the Time Traveler series, and you might have seen the video, I said that if you're going to spend 10.5 years at work, what is the point of having a job where you don't even love what you're doing? You're going to be spending a decade of your life there, so it might as well be something that you love so much and you have, so much enjoyment fulfilling your life's destiny in your work. So that's critical to getting a job that you love, because you're going to be spending a decade of your life at your job, inshallah ta'ala. The next thing is, most people spend 10 years of their life watching TV. I don't think anybody comes to the end of their life and says, man, I wish I had watched more TV in my life. You can watch it or you don't watch it. It brings no benefit, right? In fact, when people are really tired, they can still watch TV, but they can't read a book, a very, detailed, knowledgeable book. Why? Because TV doesn't stimulate the brain at all. It doesn't. That's why you can be so tired and you can still watch TV. So altogether, between sleeping, working, and watching TV, we're at 47.5 years. Then you've got internet, and I think internet's even going to increase in the future. 6 years of your life will be spent on the internet. Some of the other things, you'll spend about 4 years eating. You'll spend about 4 years standing in line, as they say in the UK, standing in the queue or lining up for the queue. And altogether, that comes out to like 63.5 years. Then you spend 3 years driving. And for the men, they'll spend 3 years in the bathroom. For women, it's only like 6 months. There's a cool quote. You can check it out on my Facebook page, inshallah ta'ala. Women tend to spend less time in the bathroom for some reason. And then you've got household chores, cooking, talking on the phone, daydreaming. Here are some tips. If I can give you, just if you understand what I'm telling you right now, I'll give you 30 years of your life back right here, right now. All right? Here's 10 years for you. Make your job your life mission. Make your job your life mission. In other words, don't try to work somewhere that you hate and then say, in my spare time, I'll live my life. I'm telling you, go to your work and make that your life mission. If that's the case, that gives you 10 years right then and there. Secondly is, if you take out TV, if you choose to make that your lifestyle choice, where you're like, I don't have a TV, that'll give you 10 years of your life. Right there, you've got 20 years, 2 decades. And I'll give you another one that you won't find in the non-Muslim books and so on, but if you wake up for Fajr, and you make it your habit to start your day after Fajr every day, it will give you another 10 years of your life, 8.3 years, and that'll be shaved away from all the sleeping years, right, that happen. That's 30 years altogether. Stay up after Fajr, be awake for like 4 hours, altogether in a span of a lifetime, you've got, boom, another 10 years right there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. All right, the top 5 tips for managing your time. Number 1 is that you must clean your brain out before you start anything, okay? You must clean your brain out. You can't try to change your life when you've already got junk in your brain. You might have heard me say this before, but it's so fundamental that it has to be repeated again and again. You've got to get the junk off of your brain, put it down on paper. Number 2, you have to focus on what's most important to you and delete the fluff in your life. You have to focus on what's most important. Okay, that means that there might be some good things in your life, and you've got to say, you know what, I'm not even focused on these good things because I want the best. I want the outstanding stuff. And you got to focus on that, and you got to let go of the small stuff. Number 3, that big dreams require delegation. Okay, if you have a big dream and you want to achieve some amazing things, it's not going to happen by yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us that, we could achieve everything all by ourselves. And if that was the case, you'd have all these, world leaders just living on their own islands and stuff like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us with strength and with weaknesses, and the ecosystem of life is that if big things are going to happen, then it needs to be done in teamwork. And so you have to master the art of delegation, master the art of dealing with other human beings. Number 4 is that you can't get anywhere in life if you don't know where you're going first. You can't get anywhere in life until you know where you're going first. So before you start going somewhere, you need to figure out, well, where is it exactly that I want to go? What am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to do? And number 5 is that excellence or ihsan is never the result of accident. You're never going to accidentally stumble upon mastering your time and so on. You have to have a plan to do it. So you make your niyyah, your intention right now to master your time, and you never forget that Allah's aid is only a dua away. I'm going to take some question and answer right now, inshallah, giving you kind of like a mental break. If some of you guys want to check out the Time Traveler series, you're welcome to do that. All right. One moment. Okay, so a sister from San Diego is saying, when should you go to bed if you stay awake after Fajr? One of the cool things about this is that if you wake up after Fajr, you're going to have a super long day. You're going to have a super long day, and about at Isha time, let's suppose 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you'll start to feel tired. You'll get into that zone where you kind of like feel exhausted and you want to like go to sleep. And it's going to be, inshallah ta'ala, a full, refreshing sleep, especially when you tell yourself that, you know what, I'm going to be awake after Fajr, and anything that I need to do, I'm going to have so much time after Fajr. So don't worry about going to bed. Instead, focus on getting up for Fajr. And then your body will naturally shut down towards the evening when it needs to go to sleep, inshallah ta'ala. Right now, you might be saying to yourself, I should force myself to go to bed. And the problem with that is that because we sleep in so long, All right, so I'm just telling you, don't worry about when you go to bed. Focus instead on when to, or waking up for Fajr and making it a habit. Question, another sister from the UK is asking, what should one do with messages